For those of you who are just coming in, number one, the test will be in PITAS next week for project management. And number two, my FYP students, the 4 of you, tomorrow night, you have to send me a draft. And then I will see you on Thursday. You make an appointment. When you email me your draft, can you make an appointment for Thursday? Can be online from 11 to 12:30. I think I will allocate about 10-15 minutes, 15-20 minutes each per person. There's 4 of you. I think there'll be more than enough, 20 minutes. So you just tell me if you are joining me at 11 or 11:20 or 11:40 or 12 o'clock. Macam itulah, huh? Then I will send you my link. Is that clear? Izati, are you here, Izati? I haven't seen you for so long. Huh? You are here? Okay, Ang, you are here? Charlene, are you here? Petra, I think you are. I already spoke to you last week, okay? I mean, it's all up to you. I mean, if you don't want to come and see me, you don't want to hand in anything, you just prepare to fail, okay? You can be prepared to fail. I will prepare to fail you. You prepare to do another semester next semester, or you can do another year, especially for FYP, after you finish your IDP, okay? I mean, like, I don't want to bullshit this. I don't want to sound like a nanny, old nanny chasing after my FYP students, huh? The condition you guys join me is you have to be proactive, not me going around you trying to nanny you. I don't know what is the reason up until now. I haven't seen too many drafts from anybody. For me, that is a very big sign that things are not doing well. Okay, I am not like other lecturers. I can close my eyes and let you pass. If I see your draft that is no good, at the end of FYP1, you prepare to do FYP1 again next semester, okay? I am too lazy to keep on bullshitting like this, huh? Asking you guys to come and see me, asking you to hand in draft, right? You didn't even bother to answer me sometimes. Until I have to threaten, I have to shout, I have to, act like a old mother or something like that, I mean? Like, this is really not my style, okay? Okay, so that is for FYP and project management test, yeah? The test, the tips is actually in the 10 o'clock, the 9 a.m. class. So if you didn't attend, that is your problem. You can go and listen to the recording and find it. If you can't find it, that is your problem again. Okay, I mean, like, you guys are so old already. I shouldn't be talking about this, reminding and reminding, yeah. Okay, the IDP you're doing at IDP 1. For IDP 2, things are going to be very straightforward. You're going to do a detailed work breakdown, detailed productivity calculation, everything detailed, okay? Detailed costing, detailed resources breakdown, detailed work breakdown, detailed resources breakdown, detailed productivity, detailed Gantt chart, detailed costing, and project quality plan as well. That is basically what we want to see generally, and safety plan as well. So there's time, cost, quality, safety that we want to see in your IDP 2 later, okay? And your assignment for project management this semester is going to be based on time, cost, quality. You can do it for a small project, okay? Like, let's say, what is small to me? A small maybe is 1 row of terrace house with a bit of civil work going on. 6 to 8 or 10 terrace houses, 4 to 10 terrace houses, 2 semi-detached houses, or 4 semi-detached houses, 1 row of shop lot. That is considered as a small project, comfortable project with a bit of civil work for you to complete your project management assignment. So this project management assignment, you will do cost breakdown in detail, you will do time scheduling in detail, you will do also quality plan in detail. So you will use the same format that you built out for your project management project later report, you will build it up for your IDP 2. Okay, so that is a story for IDP 2. So what do I want to see in IDP 1? You have two parts, conceptual report and also preliminary design report. In your conceptual report, I would want to see your market studies, your project environment studies, how you build your project environment. What is the project environment that lead you to come up with the concept that you have? For example, the number of houses, for example, the type of houses, for example, the layout, for example, the layout of the road, for example, the traffic systems, for example, the drainage systems that you have, or the water pipe and the water pipeline systems that you have. Basically, the concept is how it comes from your site walkabout, your site understanding, the surrounding environment, and the existing facilities, the authority SPA requirement, and some maybe a bit of building bylaws or whatever that you can grapple of, that you build up into your concept. So once your concept, I'll be marking you on these sort of things in your IDP 1 conceptual report. If I don't see the linkage between your concept and your option and your concept with your environment, basically you're doing it separately. Basically, you're going to get separate marks lah, basically. Okay, this is just very basically. You will not ever get an A or even an A- or even a B+ without that linkage. Okay, that is the warning that I'm giving you. So your conceptual report, like I said, you will not get a B+ and above if you cannot link your study on the environment, study on the authority like SPA punya, that planning guideline, your site walkabout, what is in your site, around your site, and what is in your site, your topo and all the technical details, how you use that, and all the economic studies and the demographic studies, social studies that you did, how you link that into your concept in civil and structure, civil and building. Okay, that is the major thing that we are looking at for your IDP 1 conceptual report. So once the concept is out, you are developing each of the components in more detail. First of all, you have got water, sewage, and all that. Okay, road, sewage, earthwork, water, drainage, and you are going to come up with an overall plan. Overall plan. There's no calculation needed. It's just to lay out where is your drain going to be, what sizes of drain, give an indication of drain, based on what? Based on your concept, based on your authority requirement, which you should have gone and get it by now, okay, or next week when you're back. Which councils you're going to go to, where water board, DID, what is the authority requirement? Okay, and then you're going to build up that into like an overall site plan. There's no detailing yet. You won't be giving me longitudinal sections with the detailing, connections, detail. No, I won't be seeing that at all in IDP 1. Okay, that will be just a layout. And then you will also talk about different work. What are the different workflow? The example that you're seeing here on screen is what we call bad example. Who doesn't know work clearing Mandarin? The flow is like this. Okay, I mean, like, this is not workflow. Okay, you need to do a proper workflow for, like you can do your work breakdown. You can use the work breakdown format. You do that for each of the work that you are doing. Drainage, you've got your pipeline work, you've got your manhole work, you've got your pillar hydrant work, you've got your connection work. There's many different works that is ongoing. So you need to break it down into a proper workflow, a construction workflow. Understand? Because this is going to help you with your design later as well, and then it will help you with your cost calculations as well. Okay. Same goes with, this is the same for every civil work. Structural work is also the same. Okay, so you have your preparation of your substructures, and then your superstructures, which layer to which layer, which house to which house. You got to break it down properly. Don't give me one line like this. Who doesn't know this is one line? I mean, this is just basically bullshit, This kind of example is bullshit. If I see these are really, really bad example. Cut, this is not good example. Whatever that is written here is actually bad example. There's no write-up on construction procedures. There's no mapping. There's no network. There is no integration between one work with another work. There's no overall integration. You see, these are all the mistakes that is done by your senior. IDP 1, I have marked a lot of people around 55, not more than 60. They just don't give me the things that I want, you see. So now even better, I show you their mistake. If you want to make the same mistake after I show you the mistake, then I've got nothing to say lah. That means you're asking for it. That means your aim in IDP is you want to get a 55, a 60. Yeah. So you can use flow chart. You can use like the work breakdown, like a few columns. The one that Dr. Lee always showed you, the columns. And then you can use the list format that we have. Okay, then you need to talk about authority, about the areas, the constraint and all that. Yeah, the buildability and the constructability of work. Yeah. So under different areas, you need to explain the authority requirement. You need to explain the constraint from the site. You need to understand the technicality of the work. This is not about calculation. It's about the site itself, the technical constraint that is given by the site itself, by the authority, that you explain on how the work, what are the things that you need to be careful with, for example. Okay. And you need to have a section on that. So you talk about work integration, you talk about workflow, work procedures, and how each procedures require what sort of resources, what are the constraints for the resources, what are the constraints technically, what are the site constraints, what are your site constraints, because everybody has different sites, you see. So not general constraint. This is far away, I cannot get labor, that kind of thing. And then your site is in Samarahan. How can you not get labor? Yeah? How can you not get concrete? You are not in some Ulu, I don't know, Ulu ABC area. Which I don't even know how to pronounce the name. We're not in those sort of areas, so you cannot talk about unable to reach kind of area all the time. Constructively, oh, my transport cannot go there. I cannot use river transport. Unless your site is really in Ulu BCA KHIJK lah, then that one you can write like that. But most of the site I can see is either Samarahan, Kuching, Cebu, the sort of things, all in civilized areas. So don't talk to me about inability to get your material unless you are actually coming up with very interesting usage of materials and all that. Then we talk about unavailability of skilled labor and material. That can be one constraint. And of course, authority constraints. You need to write that. You need to write it out and then show us your plan. Your site plan on civil, your structure. Your structure mainly is going to be on critical beams, what are the sizes, general sizes. These a lot of time the question will be asked to you. A lot of times we see in presentation, you guys will show these are the sizes of the critical beam, these are what. So when we ask you, how did you arrive at this size? And nobody can answer me. Nobody at all. The structural lecturer also being on. It's just like you just simply plug a figure from the air. The biggest beam here is 450, 250 times 450. That's it. The biggest column is 300 times 300. And you ask you, how did you arrive at that? Nobody can answer me. Every group, nobody can. Even if we talk about design concept, we talk about site constraint, you talk about whatever technical constraint that you have. You can't talk about it. I mean, they just don't talk about it. And I don't know how they arrived at those numbers. It baffles me. Okay? It's just that you want to design an exit at one particular location. We ask you, why do you want to design an exit here? Why do you want to design this size of exit? And nobody can answer. And it's your preliminary. It's not you're doing some, I don't know, you're doing some doodle on the doodle art, you know. You know what is doodle art? You close your eyes and scribble some lines on it, and then whatever lines that you come out, and then you just join all these lines together, and that becomes your project. Okay? And that is on the technical part of the work. Then project management, based on the technical plan that you produce, first and foremost, you have to do some costing. Okay, and here, this type of costing work is not fully related to time at this point in time. We have already mentioned in class, you can use parametric, you can use OUP. Okay, parametric formula is already been given to you. OUP also is being given to you. Okay, the components of what goes into an OUP rate is in week 7 cost management notes, especially the last part of the notes. Okay. And these are the mistakes that students make. Is it they will say that $174.8 dollars per meter square, and this is the area. Now, where did you get that 147.74? No idea. You see, these are the type of mistake that people just throw. I mean, they either assume that, oh, the lecturers, me and Dr. Lee, are super genius, that we can look at it and we can understand what is going on. Or they think that both of us are just complete idiot, that they can just throw in any numbers here and then we can accept it. But either way, it doesn't work, you know. You've got to explain. If you're using analogy, for example, it's fine if you want to use analogy, especially conceptual. You use analogy. Remember, I said just now, analogy. How do we work out on analogy? You can take a old project or previous project, and you can see how many houses is being built. And then what is the construction cost? Don't bullshit me about selling price. You are not here to decide selling price. I'm talking about, every time I talk about IDP, it upsets me, and I will swear a lot, because it's basically the mistake is always there. It's just that you guys listen, but you don't listen. So you need to explain construction cost. You need to ask, what is the construction cost for this particular project? It takes to build the road, structure, water, drainage, for people to live in the house. How much do we need to use to build it for it to be livable? Okay, for you to deliver the project. I'm not concerned about this markup selling price thing. You can cross it out. If you don't give it to me, I wouldn't feel like it's a big loss. For example, single-story house. So this guy who wants to use, he or she wants to use, this is group lah, huh? They want to use gross area. Fine. So you can previous punya project punya gross area, price per square meter. This is order of magnitude. But they never explain what is this 174. Not in the report, nothing, but there's a 174 here. Saying that, okay, from the previous project, their houses are, the gross area is how much? 1,832. And the construction cost from this developer is how much? You divide per meter square of gross area, then you factor. When is the time factor? When is the project done? If it's 10 years ago, you got to factor it out. Then you also need to factor the difficulty of your project if your site next to each other, or your site is actually in Kuching and the other one is Asal Jaya. Ground condition. What about the surrounding areas? So you got to go to factory, explain your factors. Follow that up. And then this is the gross area for this unit. That is fine. That is fine for conceptual. Yeah? Can we get a consensus here? You are okay with this so far? Construction cost. Oh, what? Don't go to apa what is this? You know, like a lot of you likes to go to this property.com, apa.com. All the selling price of this house is 600,000, 500,000, 800,000, and then you go and divide and use this as a per meter square cost. I really want to find some. You all, does it make sense to you or not? Selling price is selling price. Construction cost is construction cost. Get that into your head. I hope there's no thick head here this morning, okay? If you can't get it into your head, you better slice open your head and then get it in. No matter what stuff it in, we're looking at construction cost. We're not looking at selling price. So don't go to property.com or muda.com and all that and get the selling price there and divide by the gross area, and that is your price per gross area. That one, if you want to spell, you can do that, no problem. It's very easy for us to mark one. Spelling you is easy to mark, no? Can finish the report in like 5 minutes one. So we don't try your ASCA again, okay? So you see no justification of where the numbers come from at all. All the weird numbering. See? All this. Wow, you know, like ground beam, column, grade 30 concrete, pinjam BQ, quantity. Belum prelim pun belum habis sudah tahu quantity of concrete sudah. How? Let me, I'll ask you how. As a preliminary report, can you write like this? If you do know the quantity, that's fine. But if you don't know the quantity, you can't prove the quantity, you better don't give me things like this, Rate. What is this rate? If this is an all-up rate, if you're going to use an all-up rate, then you better be clear. There must be an explanation in your report that where you get this 380, okay? And what does this 380 include? See, these are all the mistakes that people make. They just throw in numbers, you know. Put throw in numbers. Wow, this one got 0.75 some more. Like got rate, 0.3, 9.7. 21. So accurate lagi, you know. Prelim can be so accurate already. You see, these are not good example. Let me show you. All your senior, they love to do things like this. They just throw in any numbers, 100,000, 1,500, 200, 250. You ask them, where did you get this rate from? Nobody can answer me. Market rate. Pandai, market rate. Market rate from where? Okay, so you can, for example, for this sewerage work, you know, you don't have to, if you want to break it down into this sort of like 5, 6 different areas, septic tanks, sewer pipe, manhole and cover. So you can have it like 4 parameters. And you can take previous project, okay? And then you can look at the quantity of the previous project, and then you split up the cost based on these 5 parameters or 4 parameters, that is your parametric estimate. Okay, so then from this parametric estimate, you spread your cost over your historical data cost over the few parameters that you choose. Then you choose 4 parameters, and the quantity of the 4 parameters you have to be very clear. Okay, so it's basically the parameters that have quantity. So your all construction costs from the previous project, the quantity from the previous project under the 4 parameters, you spread it out accordingly. You can spread it out 4, you can spread it out over 50, 10, 20, 20 also can. You can spread 40, 20, 20, 20 also can. I mean, like, it really, you have to see your whole the data that you get from your previous project, your old historical data. And then after that, your quantity, you times it with, your quantity, you times it with the rate. I mean, not the rate, I mean, as in, let's say septic tank, the old project is 50,000. You've got 83 meter. Your project is 100 meter. So it's basically 500,000 divided by 83 times 500 meters. So that will be your septic tank punya cost based on the parametric calculation. Then you add up with the sewer pipe punya parametric calculation, add up with the manhole and the manhole cover punya parametric calculation, and then you arrive at the sewerage cost of preliminary cost estimation for your sewerage work. And again, these are all construction costs. Okay, you cannot do a selling price kind of costing work on that. Okay. So there is explanation here, like on how we can use analogy, parametric, all up. Okay. So you need to have an estimation sheet. You need to show us your estimation sheet. You need to show us in your report. You cannot throw in a table like this with no explanation at all. The sewerage cost is according, please refer to the following table, this table, and then all the rate never explained, the quantity never explained, nothing is being explained, and yet you can come up with all this. So explanation is very important. So you can use a parametric calculation for your preliminary calculation. Like just now, I say, usually for civil work, it's easier for us to use parametric. Okay, and for structural work, maybe you can use all up rate. Okay, so you can spread up into your first floor, because the work are pretty repetitive. It can be, it's always like foundation work, piling, and then repetitive. Each of this is repetitive, like for example, concreting, bar bending, form working. So you can find, you can tell us how you build up an all up rate for concreting, and then you apply that throughout your whole work breakdown structure for structure, for terrace houses, for shop lots, for apartments and all that. So you can do that, it's a rate that you cantung everything per meter square, per meter cube. So you apply that rate that you build up, based on your logic and your reasoning, and then you apply that to your work breakdown and the quantity that is attached. Normally, by prelim, there will be some quantity that is outrated, even though it's an estimated quantity. Try to be more careful with your wordings. Don't just say that this is the final quantity, And try to give it a round figure rather than like a figure that has point something, or things like that, because you do want to have some additional extra in that sense. It will never be so accurate, honestly. Okay, so I'll be giving you these notes as well. The samples all here are bad samples. Okay, so there are some estimation. I mean, the most important thing is to produce that sheet, and then your schedule that you do, the schedule that you do for IDP 1 generally is on layer 1, 2, layer 1 for prelim is definitely layer 1. Layer 1 and 2, you probably will not be able to go so detailed, I wouldn't expect you to use productivity rate and all that to calculate. It will be just, again, maybe some similar projects, over a period of time, and then you can use that as a guide. That's all. Because your IDP costing for IDP 1 is not totally based on time as well. Only IDP 2 will be looking at the time, cost, and quality in a lot more care. Any questions so far? I will leave you to ask questions now. I'm a bit tired of talking already, actually. Hey, any question on IDP 1? Hello?
So far, no, doctor.
Okay, so you understand what is expected of you in IDP 1, huh? And you better come and see me as soon as possible after week 9, okay? I mean, like, we've got to get this all sorted out before your week 13 or something presentation, huh? You can include architectural work in your WBS, but it will not be detailed. All these ceiling, window, doors, doorknobs, all these things are not in internal plumbing. Your work is not there. It's not internal. It will be all external. Internal plumbing, internal air conditioning, internal sewage system like the toilet and all that, all done by mechanical and electrical engineers. Your job is the one that is outside, from the outside outlet onwards. That one is the job of a civil engineer. Water pipeline also up to the one before the meter is engineer's work. After the meter, inside the house plumbing and all this is not your calculation. So do you guys realize that? Some students, actually every group, every students from previous year, they like to calculate the construction cost, and that construction cost have not included mechanical, internal plumbing, external plumbing, architectural work, at all interior tiles, ceiling, nothing. Only structural work, only civil work, and yet after the calculation, they can say that one house make 30% profit. Does it make sense to you? IDP 1 for civil, you guys, you're only calculating up to construction cost for civil and structural work. So there's so many other cost components that are not included in your exercise. So how can you recommend a client to sell the house for what price? So that's why I do not want any one of you to think about selling price at this point in time or at all until the very, very end of the project. In fact, don't even think about it. It's better for you guys. Just think about your work. Don't think about the word selling price. Don't go to muda.com, don't go to property.com, don't go to those websites. It's not going to help you with anything. You are better off trying to find suppliers who give you their rates online, or talk to your JKR punya ex-boss, and find rates that way. Don't recommend to the client. At this point in time, you cannot recommend. You still need architect, you still need QSs, you still need the cost of M&E to come together, and the statutory cost, the land cost. Land cost you should include. and all the legal costs and everything to be included for you to be able to finalize and give a recommended selling price to the client. Just based on your structural and civil work only, you absolutely cannot recommend any selling price. Any selling price that you recommend, you pandai tell people is 20%, 30% of profit. At the end of the day, all the other costs come in, you will make 100% loss, I tell you. Existing road in your land, depending on what you're going to do with that existing road. Are you going to use it completely? Are you going to widen it? Are you going to, you can, if you're not going to do anything about it, then there's no cost involved. It's just there. If it's just like a rotten road, that has a lot of potholes in it, and you need to spend money to refurbish that road, then yeah, there is a cost involved there. It depends on what road you're talking about here. Is it a formal road or is it not a formal road? Is it a road that's already been listed in the government? It's like the road that is a proper road that is already under the government authority already, and then you're just building into that road, and then taking part of that road. It's just like the main road like that lah. You're not going to build the main road. If there's a road in your site, what does that mean? You probably means that you don't have to do anything when it comes to site in the initial stage, whereby you need to do site entrance and exit. You probably can use that road. It really depends on what you're using it for, honestly. And are you going to make it better? Are you going to abandon it later and build your own new one? You got to answer that first, How is that part? How is that as a part of your design? That's my question. So if it takes money, then yeah lah, you have to include that lah. If it's just there and you're not using it, or you're not doing anything to make it better or do anything to it, then that's it. No cost involved lah. Is it somebody else's road? Then if you destroy it later, you need to pay for it. Then you need to calculate that in your cost. You understand what I'm trying to say or not? This question is a bit weird. Do I need to include the cost for those? Of course, if it's the cost of building that road, definitely no lah. You didn't build it, you don't spend anything on it lah. So your cost will be involved in maybe refurbishing the road, making it to your site punya standard. Then you need to do something to it lah. Do anything to it. Get it, Noel? Do I answer your question? Any other questions? Construction cost is whereby you physically need to do something to it, you see, to build it, to make it work, to make it better, to incorporate that into part of your project. These are all costs involved. And cost is actually very, if you don't pay for it, that means you don't, it's not part of your cost. Any more questions? I'm not here to talk. I'm here to answer question. Okay. Whatever you put down in any tables or when you show anything, make sure that there is a basis for it. There must be some reasoning behind it. Everything has to be reasonable, boys and girls. Not throwing a dart in the wall and just guess only. Really no question. You guys haven't done anything yet, is it? Okay, if there's no question, we call it a day. And who else has haven't punched in the QR code?
I haven't scanned, doctor. Okay. Anyone who has no question, you can leave now. And those that have still got questions, I've already mentioned what I want, what we want to see, what we don't want to see. So I hope you guys are all clear. And when I'm back after the 15th, I'm very happy to see you guys before Christmas as well. I'll be around all the way up to January, before your exams. So yes, please, by all means, we need to, if you have any questions on IDP, as a group, I hope you can come and see me. At least representative from every group have to come lah. I mean, like, I don't mind if it's like a fourth, because we've got about 8-9 groups for one person. So if there's 4 or 5 groups come at the same time, I'm okay with that. Just don't come like one by one, like maybe 3 or 4 groups or 5 groups come at the same time. Send a representative or 2 or 3 representatives each group to come and see me, or what we have gone through today. And if you're not sure about the calculation, you want to show me your calculation, please come to the office. I do not want to open an email and read your calculation and I try to point out to you where the problem is. It's very difficult like that, okay? I don't want that. I prefer you to come to my office, bring your calculation with me, bring your estimator worksheet with you, come to me, bring it with you, and then I can print it out, and I can point out to you where is the problem and what is the issue here. Is there anything that is wrong? You do that, okay? Don't just come to me and say that I email you, doctor, I email you, can you comment? Because like I said, even I see it in the comment, I mean, even if I see it as a problem, it's difficult for me to circle it, I mean,
I don't have that kind of gadgets, to do that. I don't have a pen to do all this pen to do all the circling and email you back and all that. And we are already in physical classes. When you're in COVID, I have no choice. I've got to reply each and every one in sentences, and you've got to read it and all that. But now physically, you just come to me with your physical report, print out the pages that you want to show me. I can straight away point out to you where the problem is. I can scribble on the paper and show you how to do the calculation if I need to. It will work that way, you see. Don't come to me with surprises, then you just hand in your IDP report. We've got to settle all this before week 13, no? This list that I've given you is all the mistakes that we see from IDP 1 that I presented to my last year's group in IDP 2. Hopefully they will improve, and I'm showing you their mistake. So I don't want you to make the same mistake. If you want to add on to their mistake, I'm very happy next semester, we have another IDP briefing class. I will show you the extended list of those mistakes, which is including yours, okay? All right, if there's no more questions, you guys can move out, okay? If there's some people who wants to ask questions, we can I still can go on and, talk to you separately, yeah? Is it best for us to look for costing based on real-time project? Nigel, are you asking a question on project management? Nigel, I've got a chat box here. You're asking me some question on costing based on real-time project. What do you mean by this question? Are we talking about project management project, or are you talking about IDP here? Are you talking about the rate, or are you talking about for the costing exercise, you want to find a real-time project? I don't understand your question. You've got to explain.
Or IDP, doctor.
IDP, so what is your
Yeah.
question? What do you mean by real-time project?
So as in comparing to for example development housing development for this year and compared to like previous years, maybe there'll be a change in like the pricing and everything, right? So is it best that if we follow if we look for the pricing for today's one, or we just follow the previous one? I mean, like the previous years. Do you understand what I mean, doctor?
Analogy estimate, or are you looking at rate here? You've got to be clear about this.
Estimate.
Huh?
Sorry, doctor.
I still don't get you because you're asking me rate. What rate? Are you looking at rate, looking for rate today or rate previous rate? Why are we doing rate here? Are you going to be using all up rate? What technique do you want to use?
Oh, okay. The one I have to discuss with my group members first.
And tell me that you are looking at rate like, okay, my project rate is $50 per hour. That was 2 years ago. Rate, I go and get my rate for today is $100. Where are you going to apply that? For IDP 1, work by work, you're not going to do rate, That one is IDP 2. So you see some people are still like hanging up the air that they think that there's rate involved. With IDP 1, you're taking an analogy or a parametric that you will get not the actual rate. Rate is like for resources, rate for material, rate for concrete, rate for bars, rate for 1 ton of steel, rate for 1 meter cube of concrete, rate for 1 laborer, rate for 1 carpenter, rate for 1 masonry. Those are rates. You will need these rates. And of course, you have to use 2022 rates when you use IDP 1, IDP 2 later. But you all these rates, where are you going to apply them? in IDP 1. You're not going to be using any of this rate at all, unless you're telling me that for my structure or for my water or some of my activity, I will break it down and I will build up an all-up rate. When you build up an all-up rate, you need the fuel cost component that is combined together into one rate. That is what we call all-up rate. And then you times the concrete with that all-up rate. You get the final, like a calculation. It's an estimate. So if you're talking about, those BQ that you get, and then you break it down, concrete 350, all this whatever rate, you're not going to use it at all here in IDP 1. So why are we asking about it now? Don't show me BQ, I tell you, you guys, in IDP 1, I do not want to see a single BQ at all from you all. The BQ that you copy from somebody's project that is like from JKR, or from your old LI place, you pinjam their BQ, you copy it in and put it there. How could you do that? Your design is not even ready yet. When your design are not ready yet, your quantity are not ready yet. When your quantity are not ready yet, your schedule can be ready, man. When your schedule is not ready, how are you going to calculate your manpower and how are you going to calculate your manpower? How are you going to calculate your machinery? All this is based on schedule, You guys understand what I'm trying to say here? We're going to sort this out, That means that some of you out here still planning. You think that costing is just going to some old project, go to your sum up LI punya project or your mana punya project, or your father or your mother or your whatever punya project, your brother punya project, you pinjam dia punya BQ, you throw in a BQ and give this as a costing to Dr. Ting. I don't want to see anything like that here, Not in IDP 1. IDP 1 should be purely based on conceptual analogy estimates, or your IDP 1 preliminary should be based on either parametric or all-up rate. All-up rate means that you need to work out in order to construct 1 meter cube of concrete with steel bars inside there. What is my all-up rate? All-up rate meaning that this rate is to do 1 meter cube is the estimation of the material. To do 1 meter cube, I need 1 labor, 2 labor. 1 labor market rate at the moment is 60 ringgit. 60 plus material 380 is 400 something. 440. Do I need any machine per hour? Per 1 meter cube. How many hours to do that? Just 1 hour, less than 1 hour. Everything is based on 1 hour lah, normally lah. So I work out to do 1 meter cube of concrete for a structure. My rate, my all-up rate is the estimated, is a very, very rough all-up rate, is 500 to 600 ringgit per meter cube. So after my prelim design, I get roughly my concrete overall is how much? Quantity. 10,000 meter cube times by 600. So my concrete cost will be, my concreting cost will be 600,000 for my project. Then you calculate an all-up rate for your bar. You calculate an all-up rate for your concrete. This is completely different from the BQ that you get or the schedule or rate that you get at the back of a contract, you know. That one, you do that later on for IDP2, whereby every one of your structure, every one of your activity, every one of your civil work, all the work activity are completely clear already. The work is all completely breakdown already. Then you calculate your resources needed and your rate. And then you calculate like what we show you in project management today. That one is IDP2. This one. This is the rate that you are asking. The real-time rate is for this sort of exercise, whereby everything, every step is clear, every quantity is clear, every planning of resources is clear. Schedules are very, very super determined, already clear. Then you baru what? Then you, the way that I answer this question that you asked, Nigel, will be, yes, you are going to use the latest rate. Do you get what I mean? Nigel, can you answer me properly?
Yeah, yes, doctor. I understand now.
Okay, so you don't, so what do you need to do now? Can you tell me? To do a costing calculation for your preliminary costing. You need to determine what? You need to determine which method that you want to go for, correct or not? So you've got so many work components. You've got like structure, civil, you've got so many components. So what kind of method that you want to go for? Is it going to go for parametric? Then parametric calculation method. That's got nothing to do with whatever that you spoke about just now. If you want to use all-up rate, you've got to show us how you build up that all-up rate. Of course, most of it will be very recent market rate. But it's based on 1 meter cube, it's based on 1 meter square, it's based on one unique punya, work activity. It's an estimate of the rate that cantum everything. Supposed to be all the rate that we have for labor, machinery, plant, it has to come out only after your work are all confirmed, your design are all confirmed, your work are all confirmed, then every single component you already confirm it, then you baru dapat what? You baru dapat go and look for the rate for every single thing. And that also is highly dependent on the schedule. At the moment, your schedule is only an estimate. Everything is not confirmed yet. It's still very rough. Okay, what about others? Do you have any other questions? I mean, this is a very valid question. I mean, it really points out that there are some people who just doesn't understand what I've gone through this morning. And they still plan to go to some books and give me some BQ and throw in some things that I don't want to see. They still want to do things like this, you see. Rate, can tahu semua rate ini. Tahu quantity, tahu rate sudah. This is prelim, how? All these things. You said that you get for market rate, but I ask you, have you finished your design? How many resources are you using? What sort of labor are you using? What sort of machinery are you using? Bagaimana you dapat 380? Nobody can answer me. So you don't give me things like this, unless you can prove to me this rate. In the normal circumstances, you have a list for material, you have a list for resources, you have got a list for labor, machineries, and labor and machinery is based on time. So to do this ground beam, the material is how much time plus the labor is how much plus the machinery is how much plus the subcontractor is how much. Each of them has different rates. Then you got to build up to this. That is your IDP 2 exercise. So the mistake is going straight from quantity to have a table or summary. I really hope that you can come and see me before you hand in your report. Otherwise, you're going to be very screwed up again, just like the rest of the seniors. We're going to have a lot of common mistake that you will do again and again and again and again. I mentioned this last time. IDP 1, you don't have the full schedule. You don't have the full work breakdown structure. You don't have the full design. You answer me how you can do a full BQ and with the full rate. How? If the answer is you can't, then that shouldn't be appearing in your report. All right. It's good, Nigel. It's good that you asked this question because it shows that you didn't understand. Okay, I mean, like, please ask questions, even though it may be really a stupid question, but at least we sort out your problem. You are allowed to ask stupid questions and get scolded by me in a very safe environment. The worst is you get scolded. That's all. Then you feel your face a bit red only a little while. Then you go and drink a cup of cold water. Everything is fine. You go ahead and do your assignment. But when you make a mistake when you are already in the industry working as an engineer, that one is really terrible, okay? So ask questions when you're still in a very, very safe environment, like what we are doing here, okay? Anything else from anyone else? Come, it's okay, you know, I still can spend time with you. Even though I'm already out of my voice. I'm already like breathless already, yeah. Anyone else, please? If no, then you all can move out. I'm okay. I can stay around if you guys still have questions. If you want to, you know, ask. If no, then you can just move out if you want. Okay, I'm okay. I'll just give yourself another few more minutes to. I'll be around for another few more minutes. Okay. Sophia, you're okay, Sophia?
Doctor, there is one question in the chat box
Yeah, which one?
from SC.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes, definitely you have to include land cost. That's very important. Prelim, yes, definitely. Land cost is very obvious. It should be there way in the beginning, even in the conceptual. Yeah, SC?
Okay, doctor. Thank you.
Your land location and everything will be a very big factor of the type of concept that you have. The land costs also have a very big impact on the concept that you have, you see. If your land is cheap, then obviously you can build more into the structure. It probably means the location is not that good. And what does that mean? That means that later on, the things that you build, cannot be too high, the cost, you see. Otherwise, it'll be difficult to sell them. Yeah. So land cost itself will impact. It will definitely even impact the conceptual part of things. So you should have it in your prelim as well. Yeah, both all the way from concept to IDP 2 later. Preliminary cost estimates. Do we estimate it in a lump sum? A bit weird, this question. What do you mean by lump sum? Lump sum is a contractual term for final cost. I mean, if you do a preliminary cost, oh wait, okay, Dr. Lee is helping you guys to ask some question. What about consultancy fees and all that? Yeah, that one, administration, it means the indirect costs. Indirect costs, you've got the management and supervision indirect costs. If you look at the project management notes today, you will see that it will be based on percentage. Normally can be 10%. Consultancy fees can be about 5 to 10%, depending on the size of the project. Administration fees is office administration fees, which will be at least another 5% of your final cost. This one, for prelim, you can put it in if you want to. But it will definitely be there in your FYP 2 lah. For preliminary cost estimates, like I say, Farhan Kabel, you have parametric estimates and OOP estimates. They are all going to produce a final sum. The word lump sum cannot be used like this, okay? The word lump sum means that will the project be awarded in a lump sum contract? Lump sum contract means that you award the project to the contractor, he will do it for this sum of amount of money. There wouldn't be any negotiation going on. There wouldn't be anything like he cannot come back to you and say, oh, I forgot to calculate this, I forgot to calculate that, and then I want to ask for more money. Unless you actually order an extra work, then you can get more money. I mean, you can get a variation. That is lump sum. So if you're saying that for preliminary cost estimates, you will be getting every different work punya final total. Okay, so civil work, for road work, you get a total. A total that include everything. A total that include drainage, you get a total that include restructure, you get a total. And it's how you come up with that total. So not lump sum. Preliminary and general. Okay, preliminary and general. Yes, for administration costs, if you've already put it under preliminary, no, actually administration costs, depending on what we are looking at, your preliminary and general is about the site administration, like the management, the engineers working on the site office. This is under preliminary and general. That is one sum. Administration costs in general will be what we call corporate overheads. That one will be at the end of the calculation. You put in a 5% of overhead costs. That includes corporate overheads, meaning your head office, you need to contribute, all your project needs to contribute back to your corporate head office, because without them, you cannot run the project. So administration, as in site administration, yes, you have to put it under preliminary and generals. But administration fees, as in the corporate administration fees, that one is a percentage at the end that you would need to add up in the total. That is called what we call corporate overheads. Two different concepts. Huh? Under preliminary and generals, it will be everything related to your site. It will be your site office punya clerk, site office punya electricity, site office punya water bill, site office punya apa-apa site office punya. Okay, so Farhan, your preliminary cost estimate or preliminary and general? Oh, luputnya ni. So do I answer you both questions already?
Yes, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor.
I think what we can do is I do not mind at all when nearer to Christmas, which is on week 10, I will do another session with you all. It could be a physical sessions again, and then I would like it if you can all give me something to see and overall, give me something to see and also give me something to look at, I mean, this is not it lah. This is to, I have this early so that you can proceed with the work early in the right direction. If we wait for Dr. Razak punya schedule, ours will be in week 11 or week 12 or something like that, So I haven't really looked at the schedule yet. It could be week 11 or week 10. So yeah, I mean, I can do another sessions with you, or even online is fine. Then you can show me your work. I mean, I prefer to do physical ones so that I can score you physically lah, huh? Then if not if the time is good, then we can do a physical one now. Yeah, but I do not want it to be too late. If we do a briefing, as in PM briefing at the end of the troubleshooting, which is also already in week 12 normally, or week 10 to week 12. So I think it's very late already. So this briefing is really something additional, because a lot of you come to see me after class, come and go and see Dr. Lee, ask us what do we expect from you all. So yeah, this session is mainly to answer that. What do we expect from you, or what do we want to see in your report for PM part, you see, for IDP 1. So after today's sessions, it's really about going and do it, going out and do it, okay? You all are going to be very busy in the next few weeks, so get your acts up together. Jangan fikir bukan-bukan, get your things, get yourself ready to finish up your IDP as well. I mean, yeah, don't have too much pattern lah. Jangan pattern banyak lah. Get your work done lah. And like I say, after week 9, I'll be in my office already. Just come and see me. And after week 10, I can have a separate sessions with you guys again to look at your work, okay, before your presentation on week 13. All right, but just remind me or tell me whether you need it. I think we definitely need it, just a matter of when. So we will discuss on the time to have another session. So if we want to do online, I can even do it over the weekend. All right, any more questions? What about people like, Alan? Alan, you have any question, Alan? Anchen Singh? Pitra? Huh? Pating? Okay, I think that's all. I think we're all, I think we all need a little break already. I think I'm already max my limit. Okay. Right, see you guys.
Thank you, Kak.
Have a good holiday, but prepare for your exam and your assignment one. Exam due, exam on the 6th, assignment one due on the 11th. Okay, bye.
Bye.